all this coding and moving keys over, and I only have 2 minutes when I move one to start my live stream, or it won't upload to Instagram and yada yada, hoodalada hada. Technology, right? And I love it when someone's like, hey, are you on this other social media platform? Like, hey, no, I'm not. But oh my gosh, there's so many of them, I can't even keep them straight anymore. And really, I have to ask my kids how to use all of them. So good morning, happy whatever day it is, Tuesday. I said to Dave yesterday or the day before, I was like, oh my gosh, February's almost over. And he's like, it's not even halfway there yet. And I was like, yeah, today's the 21st. And he's like, today is the 14th. I might be a little off in a couple ways. Good morning, Candace. Good morning, Pixie. Hello. Good morning, Michelle. As titled, there is a little bit of a trigger warning if you tend to be a little bit susceptible to triggers. But I definitely feel like I really wanted to hop on here just because it's kind of blowing up in my little community. And because of the amount of clients that I see that I deal with this. So I might be a little personally affected by it. And also because it happened to me. So we're going to talk about this incredible thing that kind of gets into our heads where we assume that a place is safe for our children because of what we kind of have going on in our minds. And let me elaborate a little bit. Thank you for sharing. Good morning. So we're going to talk about this because it's happened to me, right? And so I'm like trying to figure out where I want to go with this first. All right. A little while ago, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, I had my son in a childcare, not even a facility. So this is more like a family-owned childcare. So lady has a setup going on in her house. Okay. And I'm sitting on the couch with my son, and so Tayson would have been at that time, I think, probably 3.5, 4-ish. And we're sitting there and we're watching TV, and he starts to say some things that are like, whoa, right? My radar starts to go off because I'm like, what is he talking about and how does he know this? So he starts telling me how he knows that if you touch your penis, it can become hard. And I was like, all right. So without freaking out, I try to talk to him without, because the first thing when your kid comes to you with something like this, please do not start shaming them, because the last thing that you want them to do is to shut down and feel like something is wrong with them, because then they're going to stop talking to you and you're not going to understand what's going on. So without leading into the conversation, I'm asking him some very open-ended questions so that I can, like, hey, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. So that because right, I don't want to like start directing the conversation because I'm trying to find out as much as I can, and he's a child, so I very much can bias what he's saying. So I say, tell me a little bit more about that. So he starts to elaborate, and I end up finding out that the daycare has allowed the kids during nap time, the ones that are older, to go into a room alone and play. Now, for me, I'm like, I don't even know how this is happening, right? I'm starting to get a little angry, but I'm trying to control myself. So what has happened is the kids do the whole, everybody's getting curious, la, la, la. So immediately I call the child care provider and I say to her the exact conversation that was told to me. I'm like, this is what's going on. And I tell her about it. So she's like, okay. She tells me the kids have been playing in a room, blah, blah, blah. And that I'm pretty sure she told me that they did get caught without their clothes on. And I'm like, seriously, as a parent, I'm like, what the hell, right? Kids should never be left in a room by themselves alone like that to begin with. But two, here's where the main thing of why I'm telling you this is, it comes into play of I have it in my head that my kid's in a safe place because they're in a childcare facility. Wrong, right? I see so many people come to me that have been molested in places that are supposed to be safe. So don't get it in your head. But now I'm going to tell you what my childcare lady said, and this is where I lost my freaking noodles. So yes, I do live in Utah. So yes, there is a huge church following here. So yes, organized religion whether I like it or not, plays a huge role in my community and how people respond to things. So I'm telling her, I said, with my background, I'm going to say that it's very alarming to me that the child has told my kid that if he, touches his penis, that it can become hard and that it makes it feel good, because a child at this age should really not understand this yet. And I said, so I'm going to highly advise that you potentially talk to the parents of the child who showed my child this. And guess what my child care provider said? And this is where I was like, all right, I will now be looking for someone new, right? She says, oh, and I said, this is obviously child grooming. He's seen something, someone is sexually molesting him, whatever. And we all know, right? There's no doubt about it. This usually happens with close friends or a family member. That's just how it is. So I tell her this. I'm like, I'm really concerned. And she says, oh yeah, no. His parents would never do that. They go to church. They're really active members. I can't even tell you how much my blood started to boil. And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. That right there means that nothing's going on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to say, pull your head out of your arse. That is the absolute reason why this happens, is because people get into this spot where they're like, oh, that would never happen. I remember I had a family member who was sharing a story of some people that were in her community, and the wife had some disabilities, and she ended up pulling away from the husband and living with someone else, and he was doing the whole, she's crazy, she's gone off the deep end, blah 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 blah. Nobody would listen to her. She's like, I think something's going on with my kids. So sure enough, somehow one of the kids or something starts saying something, and she is not living in the house, and somebody says something about, one of the kids starts talking about him being touched inappropriately. And so the cops go and find him, and he's not home. And he knows that he's under an investigation. So he immediately texts someone and says, I need you to go get my laptop from my house and get rid of it. And also tells them about an article of clothing that he has hidden somewhere. Once again, active church member. So everybody was like, oh, he holds a high calling. He would never do something like that. The mom is crazy. No, he was sexually molesting the kids. Please do not be the person that's like, oh no, they're a teacher. Oh no, they're in the church. Oh no, blah, blah, blah. So now we have this big issue going on because my community church just released a statement about allowing young children to be accessible by their class teachers, whatever. And people think this is totally fine. Here's what my issue is, okay? I see child molestation going on in child care centers. Those people have background checks, and they're being molested by, and those people are grooming children and molesting children. They have background checks. The people in religious communities don't get background checks. They don't need them. No, you just show up at church and you get a calling because you're there. These people have zero background checks. They have absolutely zero freaking training in how to teach children, be around children, yet they're left alone. And I know some of you are probably like freaking out because I'm incorporating this, but I'm going to tell you why. Because I just freaking had a client who had this happen to her in an auditorium, in a gym, inside a church house, where she was molested by someone who was supposed to be her teacher. So, and this was not even recent. So yes, I am going to go out there and I am going to raise a little ruckus, because if you think that it is okay for someone to be texting your child without you knowing about it, you are freaking insane. Do not sit back and be like, but this is a calling of God, so it's totally fine. That's not how this works. Places like schools, places like churches, these are safe places for people who like to be predators for children, because they can get away with it. No one is watching them. I'm going to church. I'm doing the right thing. It's called by God. So I can be around your children and be in a safe place. Same thing goes with childcare centers, right? It's just how they work. They want a place where they can groom your kids. They want a place where they can talk to your kids and start texting them and be safe. Yeah, it happens all the time. So yeah, I'm ranting about it because I just see it. I see it too often. So please open your eyes. Never take the road of, well, he would never do that because he's active in the church. He holds a calling. Never take the, well, she would never do that. She's a teacher. Don't take the, well, he would never do that because he works in a childcare center and he has a background check. This is how these people get into this. They find the places where we're all naive and we think that this stuff can't happen. And then that's how our children become victims to this kind of stuff. So please open your eyes. And yes, family members, sleepovers. Like we have a big restriction in our house. My kid's not allowed to sleep over at people's houses. Just please protect your children. And yeah, I am. I rant about it because I'm the one that starts doing sessions on adults. And I know that this has happened. And they're like, okay, so when I was a kid, this was going on. And I felt like my mom didn't protect me. And now, right, we're as an adult, we're dealing with all this trapped stuff. So there you go. And yes, definitely in your own home. It happens. So please know those are not safe places. There is no safe place there. I don't give a crap. There's no safe place. Keep your eyes open. The safer the place, the more likely it is, honestly, for someone to do this. Okay. Woo! Right. All right, guys. What socks am I wearing today? Don't forget, if you're sharing, then you're caring and you get entered into win socks. But please type shared because I can see how many shares something has. But like, for example, I had a video when I checked it last night after it had been shared 27 times. I can only see the 2 people that did it because your privacy settings prevent you from being able for me to see that you're sharing it. So please type that you shared. We're giving away the Care Bear socks plus a free session, right, with moi. And if you watch, and if you don't know how this works, go find my post pinned to the top. If you watch, I've started making little announcements when I have an open Healy and I'm not scanning anyone. I can make a distance energy connection with you and I will scan you and do some super cool frequencies to help balance out stuff. So if you're like, man, I'm having a really hard time with my sleep or something, you want to watch for that because they're free. Okay, socks that I'm wearing, I'm totally sporting the orange today, right? I decided to put in a bow and everything. I'm just feeling it. I needed Halloween socks, so I'm doing my Halloween socks because I can. Right. Okay, guys, I think that's all I got for you. I got to go to work. And I hope you have a fantastic, great day. Lucy, did you see that you were my winner last night? So you got to message me. If you want me to actually mail you a physical card, I super will. If you want to just hop on my schedule, you can, but you want a free session with me. Thank you, guys.